Hey everyone, we're live at bullbuster.net, and today we're going to talk about everything you need to know about fishing line. So if you have a question about fishing line, chances are we're either going to answer it here, or we're going to have some resources, probably linked in the description, that are going to answer that question. So let's dive in here. When was fishing line invented? Uh, Fishing line's been around for a long time now. It has been in many forms, and our modern fishing lines are not the original form. It's thought that the first people to make a fishing line were the ancient Chinese, but fishing lines have been around for a long time, and it's thought that that story of Benjamin Franklin with the key testing out lightning. He used fishing lines for his kite, and uh, there's been many forms. Let's say there's the world's first fishing club was the Avalon Tuna Club, and they used linen fishing lines for that. So that was a linen line that you actually literally had to take out of your reel and dry after every time you went fishing on like a giant clothesline. Otherwise, it would rot or be eaten by moths. So we've come a long way since then, and really the oldest fishing line in modern use that's used for pretty much everyday fishing is monofilament fishing line, and that's made out of nylon. And now there's many types of nylon. There's different polymers. There's copolymers where they're mixing all these chemicals together. But yeah, so the original nylon that started the fishing line was a guy named Dr. Wallace Carruthers, and he was a research scientist. He left Harvard in the 1920s, and he went to the chemical company DuPont. And DuPont makes a lot of chemicals, but yeah, so they invented nylon in secrecy. It was like their one of their secret patents, and as they raced to develop different products, and they became the sole producer for a while until they licensed it in the 1950s. And yeah, so there was a lot of at that point, some of the major monofilament companies in the U.S. After World War II, had made friends with Germans, and kind of when things settled down a bit, the monofilament fishing line was now available and being shipped over from Germany, and they basically licensed out this technology, yeah, over there. So, what other things about fishing line? So, what are the three major types of fishing line today and that are used? And those are braided fishing line, monofilament fishing line, and fluorocarbon fishing line. So those are the three basic types that are used widely today. And if you go on our website, bullbuster.net, you can purchase those lines. So we have ultimate guides that get really in depth on each type of line, but I'm going to cover a few points for each type of fishing line here. So let's start with braided fishing line. What are the advantages of braided fishing line? Of course, each one has its time and a place, but braided fishing line is a line. One, it lasts very long, and one of the main advantages to it when it was first starting to be commercialized and used for fishing is that it's thinner for the same strength. So your 100-pound braid is way thinner than your 100-pound monofilament, and lets you put more line on a smaller reel that's stronger, basically catching bigger fish with smaller tackle. And a lot of reel companies actually had to upgrade their technology for their drag, and put different washers in there because now people expected more pressure on the reels um, as a result of having this new type of fishing line. But at this point, braided fishing line is a pretty standard fishing line, and it's used for a lot of applications. And then you have monofilament fishing line, which we talked about earlier, and monofilament fishing line, like we just talked about, has been around for a while, and it's very effective, and it's also less expensive than braid, so it's widely used. What about fluorocarbon fishing lines? Fluorocarbon fishing lines are usually you don't use them for your whole reel, but use them for a leader material, and that's because fluorocarbon fishing line is more see-through than most fishing lines. So fluoro usually abide in leader spools, small leader spools, or on our website we carry it in bulk, so you can make pre-made leaders and save money doing that, and be ready when you're out there fishing. So fluorocarbon fishing lines, they're a lot more expensive, but they're see-through and they're a lot denser, so the light passes through them faster. So is monofilament or fluorocarbon better? Uh, that's a tough. Well, really, as a rule of thumb, put mono on your reel and use fluorocarbon. It's a better leader material. You spend a little bit more money, but yeah, it's better for leader material. So what is a super line? Sometimes people are they're looking for a super line because someone says you need to use a super line for your fishing line. That's just braid. Braid is the super line because you can pack less, like more on your reel for the same strength. And it's often up to like 10 times thinner than monofilament for the same strength. What is fluorocarbon made out of? It's made out of this fancy chain of carbons. So yeah, that fluorocarbon, and yeah, the abbreviation for that is PVDF, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the chemical chain that this is, but basically, this line is much thinner. I mean, much denser than nylon, which is what mono is made out of, and light passes through it faster. Can fish see the color of your fishing line? Well, that's the question. Can fish see my line? So when you have colored line, the answer is yes. For it depends on the fish again, but color is visible. Most colors are visible up to 60 feet in the water. So fish can see your line if it's colored and they have good eyesight above 60 feet. After that, not really. And does it matter? Not really, because you can use a leader material. We covered what is braided fishing line. Remember, braided fishing line is that thinner line, and it's thinner in diameter. It's made out of fibers, and it's made out of a material that's called ultra high molecular weight polyethylene fibers. And they're woven together and they create a braid. And this braid can be either 4 carrier, which means 4 strands, or 8 carrier, which means 8 strands of that fiber, or 16 carrier, which means 16 strands of that. So what is mono? We covered that before. It's a yarn made of nylon that it's used for most types of fishing. So that's our ultimate guide to fishing line. In the link to the bio, I'm gonna also include a ultimate guide to braided fishing line and monofilament fishing line, so you can dive way deeper into which type do you want to use and for what type of fishing. All right, our mission at bullbuster.net is to help you spend more time fishing. So I'm glad you've listened to this article, but get off the computer and get out in the water.